What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend, and as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. I am feeling recharged, I am feeling refreshed and fabulous after my weekend away. It was so nice to just kind of unplug for a few days, get out on the lake, go swimming, have a few drinks, do my thing. It was fabulous. I am feeling recharged, like I said. I'm feeling very creative and inspired. I don't know what has gotten into me, but I've gotten this creative bug where I just want to make things and edit things and come up with new things. And I don't know. I've just been very artsy fartsy lately in a digital space. So I have some exciting things coming for the podcast, just some ideas that have been kind of brewing in this empty brain of mine that sometimes has a firework or two go off. And I am very excited for them to come to fruition and roll them out. So if you are not following us on social media at 2pop to handle on all platforms, now is the time. I have some exciting little projects I'm working on that sound so cliche, like podcast host, influencer. I have some things I'm working on. Make sure you're following, but it's true. I get it. And now saying it, I'm like, oh, I'm one of those, I guess. Except a fraction of the listeners and followers. But you know what? Everybody starts somewhere. That being said, yes, like I said, make sure you are following us on socials, specifically really Instagram. I post majority of our content there. That's my main source of reaching out to you guys when I'm not talking into the microphone. So make sure you're following us. I have been having so much fun, listening to what you guys are saying, reading all the comments, listening to your DMs or reading your DMs rather, whatever the word is. And with that, we have some structure changes coming to the show. Nothing too crazy. I actually tested it last week, so I don't know if anybody noticed it, but I did that rapid fire moment at the beginning, and I kind of did a bigger chunk of the episode focusing on one or two topics, and it kind of felt a lot better to me. It just kind of feel like the show flowed a little bit better. It gave me better peace of mind than having to kind of string all the stories together. So in the past, what I would do if anybody is new here, if this is your first time listening, hello, welcome. Or if you haven't listened to last week's episode, I won't hold it to you. I get it. It is summer. We are busy, but get on it. No, I'm just kidding. But typically, what I do is obviously I start the show, we chit chat, I do our Drew releases, my new music from last week and this week, and then I go into just a plethora of pop culture topics, just fitting in as much as I possibly can into an hour and change long episode as possible. And it got to a point where I just felt like I was like a ping pong ball floating around this little screen that I'm talking into and just talking about anything and everything and giving not surface level, because I would definitely get more into some topics than others, but just I wasn't able to really hone in on one thing and give people an idea of what the episode will be about, because it was about everything, which is great because it's obviously good to have everything all in one, kind of wrap it up in a present, put a bow on it, listen to this, here's what you need to know for the week. But it was just getting to a point where I was like, I'm titling the episodes one thing and I talk about that thing for a minute and 45 seconds and then I'm on to the next one. So it was something that I was thinking about for a while, and then I got a comment on YouTube of somebody bringing it up and being like, great episode, I really liked it, but I came here because of the title and you only talked about the title for 2 minutes. So excellent clickbait, but not really what I clicked for, which had been on my mind for a while. So I am very excited. I've been playing around. I consulted with our Two Pop to Handle unofficial team and I chatted with some of the girls. And I think what the best way to go about and what I think just kind of works the best for this show is I'm going to start every show with my rapid fire moments of the week that were too pop to handle. And I think that it's just a fun way, obviously tie in the name. The whole point of the show was to talk about things that were the epitome of pop culture from the week that was too pop to handle. That's the name of the show. And I feel like I was kind of losing that essence and not tying it into the show. And I think this is the perfect way to kind of tie that back in, talk about everything that I want to in just quick little snippets, and then give you guys the meat of the show being about one to two really main topics and going more in depth there. So we're going to try it out, see how I like it. Nothing's changing in terms of the content that I'm giving you. It's just the arrangement of it. So obviously in the past, it starts with Drew releases, then the main show, TV recap, Yes and Mess. We're just adding in a new segment, moments from the week that were too pop to handle. Then we'll go into our Drew releases. Then we'll go into the main part of the show, TV recap, and put the bow on the end of the show with my Yes and my Mess. So nothing's changing that much, just, shifting some things around. And I'm very excited to kind of see how this kind of plays into just, coming up with the topics and the conversations I can have. I think it just opens up a lot more doors too to bring guests on. I could have somebody come on just for that main part and talk about that. So very excited. We will see how this works. I've only been 1 week, so obviously we have to trial and error it a little bit. But even when I was recording last week and when I was writing the outline this week, I was like, this already just feels so much better and less congested and gives me more space to talk more in depth about the main topic. Spoiler, this week's main topic is the Olympics, if you couldn't tell by the title. But before that, let's hop into our rapid fire moments that were just too pop to handle for this guy over here. First and foremost, Taylor Swift's crowd at the Munich Eras Tour. Holy shit. If you did not see, Taylor Swift performed in Munich over the weekend, and the stadium already fit 74,000 people, which is obviously a massive amount of people to perform to. So not only was she performing to 74,000 people, this venue, and these people are so lucky, has hills outside of it that you can see the stage, or I'm sure you're not getting a crystal clear view, I'm sure, but enough to be able to sit there. And it wasn't just like 5 or 6 or 7 people sitting there. 50,000 people were sitting outside the venue with a pretty clear slash obstructed view of the show, which for free, honestly, at that point, like, why the hell wouldn't you go sit on that hill and listen to or watch the show if you can? Like, that is insane. She started, I would think it was like night two. She did like 3 nights, I want to say. That's typically her soiree. She started and she was like, we are lucky enough to get to play this show for 74,000 beautiful people in this stadium. And if the reports are correct, about 50,000 beautiful people outside the stadium. And it was like that for every night she performed in this stadium. It's just insane. Like, thinking about that amount of people in one area is nuts. That's literally 124,000 people. Wait, is that right? Carry the 170. Yeah, that's right. Okay, look at me. I'm getting better at math every single week, you guys. We are listening, we're learning, we're taking things in. This podcast is doing more for me than the American education system ever could. We love to see it. Moving on, our next rapid fire topic. Did you guys see Ava Fest this weekend? The San Diego Comic Con was going on, and Abbott Elementary was hosting a full on carnival called Ava Fest, which is a nod back to the show if you don't watch. It's like, it's a whole thing. It's like, if you know kind of thing. They went all out for this activation, and I was floored. They had the Eagles drum line there. They had a literal full carnival. The cast was there. They had just like so much going on. They had an entire build of the front of the school with like the murals on it, the steps. It was so cool. And like, I was itching the fact that I wasn't there because obviously you guys know I love Abbott so much. And just seeing all the details and like all the things that went into it, it was incredible. I was obsessed and watching all the content all weekend. I was literally like foaming at the mouth. I was so jealous. I was like, oh, I wish I was there so bad. If they do anything like that here in New York, I'm the first person in line. Sign me up. I will buy the ticket. I will buy the VIP pack, whatever it is. I need to be there because it looked incredible. But that's not the only Abbott news that we got this week. The cast did a panel. Pretty much the entire cast was there from what I can remember. And the big takeaway and what's really taking like the headlines is the fact that there's going to be some type of crossover episode in this next season, which the possibilities are endless. Realistically, is probably going to be It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The show is based in Philly. It would just make sense for those two universes to cross over. But like the tweets and the theories about like what it could be are hilarious. People are saying she's going to be in, they're going to be in Euphoria. And then a picture of like Quinta and Maddie from Euphoria walking down the hallway. Somebody said that that Ava and Coach Sylvester from Glee are going to queen out together. I saw somebody else saying like, imagine Deborah Vance from Hacks and Lisa Chimenti going at it together. Like it is just the possibilities are literally endless, and I'm sure whatever it is, it'll be hilarious and just written so well. I'm gunning for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia just for location purposes and also like the comedic route of those, but Really no idea what it could be. They were very, very like hush hush on what it's going to be. All they said that there is a crossover. The season comes out, I want to say in September because it runs on like a school schedule, which also is just like the most genius way to run a show about an elementary school. It is so good. I love this show. I could talk about it for hours, but we're not going to do that because, again, this is rapid fire topics. Speaking of filming and things that are going on, actually, the next two topics are about things that are being filmed, which I just cannot wait for, and they are absolutely the definition of too pop to handle. First things first, Freaky Friday 2. How many times can I talk about it before this movie comes out? The limit does not exist. If you have not been seeing these candids of Lindsay, Jamie Lynn, oh my God, am I okay? Lindsay, Jamie Lee, and Chad Michael Murray filming in LA. I'm so excited. They have Jamie Lee Curtis like hanging out of a Jeep. They're wearing these like fun, crazy outfits. I am so excited. Jamie Lee Curtis posted a picture today and she's wearing a wedding ring and she says, I do, hashtag Freaky Friday. I'm like, is Tess getting remarried? Because she got married in the first movie. Is Anna getting married in this movie? Like, what's the vibe? What's going on? Obviously, we know that Lindsay has a stepdaughter in the movie, so I'm assuming she's either already married or is getting married. But why is Jamie Lee wearing it? Like, so many questions. I'm so excited for this movie, and these candid just make me more and more excited. And speaking of things that are major, Beyonce has been filming something in Seacliff, New York, which is a little too close to home for me. I'm like, you are in my, I mean, it's not that close at all, but it's still in New York. It's in the state. It's in my vicinity. And I feel like I can like feel her. You know what I mean? Like her presence almost. She has been filming, I think it was for 2 days. It was yesterday, and I believe she was back today filming something. Nobody really knows what. The rumor and the word on the street is that it's a Levi's collab. Reason being is that the filming was being done with Pretty Bird Productions, which is the same team who produced and directed or just directed rather, excuse me, the Formation music video, and they recently worked with Levi's. There were some things inside the bar she was filming out that said Levi's jeans. Could it be a nod to the song? There's a fly in my shot. Get out. I did not want any special guests this episode. Could it be like a music video? Could it be a commercial? I don't know. I don't think it's a music video. I don't think she would be seen filming these visuals. It's not like it's self-titled when she was filming on Coney Island and like everybody saw her there. I don't think she would do that for the visual. So I definitely think this is some type of like product placement or like commercial, which I mean, Beyonce commercials are always so good. We all remember the Pepsi commercial from back in the day. There were multiple. There was the one with her, Britney, and Pink. There was the one before her Super Bowl where she did all like the mirrors. Like one thing about Beyonce is even if it's just a commercial, she's gonna go all out for it. Spoiler, we will be talking about the Team USA commercial because holy shit. I mean, the Verizon commercial, like she goes all out for everything she does. So no matter what she's filming, I know it's just gonna be like chock full of incredible everything because it's Beyonce and she does nothing short of amazing. So I'm very excited to see what's going on there. But I'm also a little nervous because Beyonce famously, like, if something she's doing gets leaked, she pulls it. She has no problem being like, nope, we're done. So hopefully this is like a lock and seal contract that she cannot get out of and she cannot pull the plug on this one even though everybody knows about it. I'm sure it won't happen because it was really obvious she was filming there. Her name was on the street. Like it was obvious to piece it together. People saw her there. She was wearing like an all denim outfit. She had a short blonde bob. Like she looked good. I'm very excited for whatever this is. And I'm like, the Cowboy Carter era clearly isn't over because there's still so much going on and we still have Act 3 to come. So whatever she has up her sleeve, I'm buying. I cannot wait. I am so freaking excited for whatever she has going on. And then the final little two pop to handle moment that we had from this week, it actually leads us into our Drew releases. So we'll talk about the song involved in just a moment. But there was some drama between Halsey and what appeared to be Britney Spears, but who really knows? Because now, I don't know. So if you did not know, Halsey just released a new song on Friday, Lucky. We will talk about it in a moment. And the chorus is pretty much her interpolating Lucky by Britney Spears. She takes it, she kind of changes the lyrics a little bit, and the song is about her life, Halsey's life, and talking about her struggles in the last few years, how the media kind of paints her in a certain way, and she's sick and she's dealing with certain things, and people said she was on drugs when she was really losing weight because she was sick. Like, we'll get into the song in just a minute. but she released a music video with it as well that kind of just depicts what she's been going through. And somebody on Britney Spears' Twitter, I don't know who, Britney says it wasn't her, but somebody had the password, logged in and tweeted, "For obvious reasons, I'm very upset about the Halsey video. I feel harassed, violated, and bullied. I didn't know an artist like her and someone I looked up to and admired would illustrate me in such an ignorant way by tailoring me as a superficial pop star with no heart or concern at all." So she posted that, and everybody was like, "Did you watch the video?" Like, the song and the music video is clearly about her. It's about her sickness. She's just been coming out talking about her diagnosis. What's the, I don't know. She talking about what she's been diagnosed with lately. Maybe the American education system failed me just as much as this podcast. Anywho, so she obviously has been like spearheading this era with that kind of plot. Not, it's not a plot, but with that storyline and talking about her illness and things that she's going through. So for Britney to come out and say that, it was like, what are you saying? Because a few weeks ago, Halsey was saying that she got permission from Britney to use the song. She made sure like everything was good. She got the green light on everything. Like it wasn't like Halsey just like took the song, did what she wanted. Britney was apparently involved in the process to some extent. And knowing that Halsey is such a big Britney fan, as pretty much all the pop girls nowadays are and have been influenced by her one way or another, it just didn't make sense to me that like that was the first time Britney found out what the music video would be about, and almost just like felt like maybe somebody on her team was like feeding her something that like wasn't correct. I don't know. I don't know who her team would be anymore. Like I don't know what that is like. Obviously with her picture being so painted so negatively and like everything going on with their conservatorship, and obviously it's ended, but there's got to be some type of team and people involved to some extent. It's a really weird and sticky case. But then Britney followed that up. She deleted it and said, "That was not me on my phone. I love Halsey. That's why I deleted it." And then Halsey responded and said, "And I love Britney. I always have, always will. You were the first person who ever made me realize what it means to feel inspired. And you continue to inspire me every day." So clearly there's a level of respect from Halsey's end that we knew already, because she's been pretty much using this entire song to promote her love and like admiration for Britney and how she inspired her in her career. And Britney signed off on it, apparently, like I said. So very strange. Like, I don't know what went down and who posted that. Granted, if Britney did post it, and I say this lovingly because I'm obviously a huge Britney fan, like, she's obviously not in the right state of mind. She's obviously, got some screws loose upstairs, and that's not her fault. She's been through the ringer. And if you've been listening since the beginning, we did a whole recap about her book, and we've talked about it. We hate Justin Timberlake, we love Britney Spears. Like, that's very much the vibe. If you haven't listened to any of those episodes, that's just like your TLDR kind of situation. So it was just very strange to know that like Halsey talked to Britney about this. Halsey like got the okay. She literally samples the song. The whole chorus of the song is Lucky by Britney Spears. The song is called Lucky. It just like something seemed really strange, and I wasn't sure like what to take of it. I don't know, it was odd. But that being said, we are talking about the song now, moving along to our new releases from last week and what's coming up this week. Halsey, Lucky, she released the second single from her upcoming album. We don't know when the album's coming out. We don't have much other info. We just know that we had the lead single, which was heartbreaking and sad, and then we have the second single, which is still heartbreaking and sad, but with a fun little Y2K flair. So I loved it. The song is so good. I really feel like this era that Halsey is going into is going to be one of the like rawest and realest eras of any artist that we've gotten in a while. She really is like kind of putting it all out on the table between these two singles she's given us. She has given us such a peek into her life for the past 4, 5-ish years, and just like how she gave birth. She's a single mom in that sense. She was sick, and she had to shave her head, and people were making fun of her haircut because they thought she was shaving her hair for aesthetics when she was really just sick. They were saying how one of the lines she's saying like they think I'm losing weight because of the drugs that I ate, but really it's because of her being sick. So she's really giving us a look into what her life has been like over the last few years or so, being a mom, going through her breakup, or I don't know if they were married, to be honest, her and her ex, and, the father of her baby. I'm not sure if they were married, to be honest, but regardless, they're split now. Like, obviously now she's with Avin Jogia. She's been with him for a little while, I feel like, and they're happy and like one of the hottest couples in the world. So we love to see that. So I don't really know in that sense what went down, but she's giving us a really raw and real peek into her life. And it's interesting. I feel like this is something that, a lot of artists teeter with and try to do. And I think the way Halsey is doing it is really smart. And I've been talking about the marketing behind this song and like the era coming up. I think it's genius. I think it's really, really fun, a really good way to do it. And yeah, I love the song. It's so much fun. I mean, it's literally a Britney Spears song. What's not to love about it? But yes, loving this release from Halsey. And then the second release that we had from this week was Y2K, the new album from Ice Spice. And if you listened to last week's episode, I was saying I'm not that excited for this album. Ice Spice has kind of gotten herself in some hot water lately. She's been a little problematic and kind of just like having this like attitude about her that just like was kind of turning me off. I was like, I don't know, like, yes, you've done all of these collabs, you've had records broken, like you're doing well in that sense, but you have to also like have the personality to be a star kind of vibe, and she was just kind of like rubbing me the wrong way. I'm gonna eat my words. I really enjoyed this album for the most part. There were some songs where I was listening to it and I was like, this is just sounds with words over it. Like nothing about it was enjoyable. It kind of felt like I was like having a panic attack listening to it because there was so much happening on some of them and she doesn't always find the beat, and that's okay. You don't always have to find the beat. You're good. It happens to the best of us. But there were some songs in it that I really did like. I loved Papa. I loved Plenty Sun. I loved Did It First. Those are the three that really stuck out to me. And for the most part, I really did enjoy the album. So I take back what I said last week. Is it the best album I've ever heard? No, but it's not bad. It's definitely better than I was expecting. So great job to Miss Ice Spice. It definitely exceeded my expectations, and I was very happy and pleased after listening to it. And then the final release that we're going to talk about is actually one that came out, I want to say a week or two ago, and it wasn't really on my radar. I know of this artist, and I've actually seen her live before, but she didn't really stick with me. Not that I didn't like her, I just sometimes my cup is full and I don't have enough, space in my cup to introduce a new girly into the mix. So Remi Wolf released her new album, Big Ideas. I'd been seeing it everywhere, and like I know Rachel Chinariri, who you guys know I love, she's opening for her on tour. So I knew she was coming out with an album. I just wasn't really on my radar. Oh my God, I love this album. It is so good. And I'm like kicking myself for not listening to it sooner. It is so good. My top three from my first few listens are Toro. Toro is so good. Cinderella, which I actually had heard. I heard it on TikTok a while ago and then I listened to it and I really did like it, but I wasn't like floored by it. But listening to it as like the start of the album and like with the rest of the project, I absolutely love it. And then Cherries and Cream is so good. Honestly, the entire album is so good. There's some like upbeat, there's a little slower moments for people, like really fun, really unique voice on her. She opened for Lorde on the Solar Power tour. So I saw her twice at Radio City and her set was really good. I had a good time, but again, my cup had runneth over at the time and I was kind of just like, I can't add someone new to the mix, which kind of a flaw on my part. I have a hard time like introducing some new artists to my mix sometimes because I don't want to get too obsessed and like have I feel like sometimes I feel like I have to stan an artist. Like I'm all in or I'm not in at all. I've been getting better about it where like I can casually listen to an artist without being like, oh my God, I need to know everything about them. I need to follow them here. I need to like do that. Like, you know what I mean? When you get that like stan mentality, I've gotten a lot better at like blurring that line and being like, I can enjoy an album and an artist without making it my entire personality trait. So I'm definitely, we're coming around. That's growth. Again, maybe this podcast is doing more for me than the American education system. Who knows? We will see. But yes, if you have not listened to Remi Wolf's new album, Big Ideas, yet, go listen to it. It is so good. She has such a unique voice, unique sound. She's just fun. Really, really liked it. And now I want to go back and listen to the rest of her albums, not in a crazy making this my personality trait way, but in a wow, this person is really talented and I bet you they have killer music. So we will be listening to Remi Wolf's discography sooner than later. And that wraps up last week's releases and the recent releases that I'm loving. This week coming up is a release that I'm very excited about. Casey Musgraves is releasing the deluxe version of her album that came out earlier this year, Deeper Well, and it's called Deeper Into the Well. She's dropping 7 new tracks on Friday, which is a lot for an expanded version. Like, that's a full EP when you think about it. So I'm very excited. Deeper Well, it's one of my favorite albums of this year. I love it. It is so, so good. So definitely very excited for these new tracks this Friday. We will chat about them next week. I cannot wait. And that wraps up our Drew releases from the week. If you are interested in listening to any of the music that I've talked about on this episode or any previous episodes, you can always find my Drew releases playlist on Apple Music and Spotify in the link in my bio on Instagram, or just go to those platforms and search Drew releases. They should come up. If they don't, sorry, I don't know. But yes, they are in the link in my bio and all my socials, so you can find them there. And it's just my way to kind of give you guys the playlist of everything I'm talking about without you having to go search like one by one. I'm trying to find a new way to do the playlist. Again, this like creative bug that has bit me. I'm trying to like find a way to do it in a more organized way rather than just like one long playlist. So we're working at the kinks. We're ironing things out. We're listening, we're learning, we're adapting, we're doing our things. But for now, there is just a massive playlist of all of the music I've talked about pretty much since October on my Spotify and my Apple Music. Go check it out if you're interested. And with that, let's head into the main part of our show. We are talking about the thing on everybody's lips, the Olympics. And before I get into like the main points of it, I feel like, and I'm not the only person because I'm seeing other people say this online. I'm seeing tweets about it. People are posting it on their Instagram, and they're like, when did everybody become Olympic experts and like Olympic super fans? And I'm kind of feeling the same way, not in like a shady way by all means. Listen, if this is what you're excited for and this is what you're into, good for you. I think that everybody should have something that they are excited about, something that they love, but I just have never experienced like a fandemonium for the Olympics like I have this year. I do think it has something to do with the fact that like it's in Paris, so everybody's there. Like all the celebrities in the world have been there. And I know Simone Biles was a huge pull this year because she bowed out of the Tokyo Olympics a few years ago because of her mental health. Now she's back and she's killing it. We'll talk about her in just a moment. But like this year's Olympics have been so everywhere, and I feel like every brand is involved, every big thing is involved. I mean, Wicked, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Celine Dion, like there's so much happening for it. Not a bad thing, just an observation, just something I'm noticing that the Olympics are like getting the gold medal and exposure this year. Obviously, they're always getting major exposure, but something about this year, it just feels different. Let me know if you guys feel the same because I feel like it's huge. Like it's always huge, but like this year, I don't know what it is specifically, but I'm like, everybody suddenly is like obsessed with the Olympics to a level that like I've never experienced before. But that being said, the Olympics are happening. Opening ceremony happened on Friday over in Paris. And let's just say, let's call it what it is. The Olympics are so gay. I mean, between the men running around in the tiniest little Speedos you've ever seen in your life, the drag queens at the opening ceremony, Lady Gaga opening the ceremony, Celine Dion closing the opening ceremony, the list just goes on. The Olympics are so gay and I'm loving it. I am here for it. Let alone all the things that I just mentioned. This year's Olympics has the highest amount of gay and LGBT athletes competing. There are 191 gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, queer, and non-binary athletes. In 2020, they had around 180 athletes, which is still incredible in the Tokyo Olympics, but now we are at 191. It is record-breaking, which we love to see. We love to see queer representation anywhere, especially in a sports world where it's not always the most queer and gay-dominated space. So, like I said, the Olympics are gay as hell. Moving on to some gay things at the Olympics, the controversy going on over the opening ceremony, Last Supper, whatever you want to call it, scene. First and foremost, the opening ceremony of the Olympics is literally supposed to be the country welcoming all the other countries into their space and like giving them a taste of their culture, showing them like how they identify, who they are. And I just feel like everybody needs to take a chill pill, especially the Christians. Like, not everything is about you, contrary to popular belief. I understand. I can see the frustration of like, oh my God, this is literally recreating the Last Supper. That's disrespectful in that sense. Sure. But they weren't recreating the Last Supper. And I think if you were like up in arms about it, then saw what it actually was supposed to be representing, and then you let it go, that would be fine. But people are just not letting it go. So the scene that they were recreating was the Feast of Dionysus. And I understand at first glance being upset and like thinking it's mocking your religion. Sure, that is fine. But as soon as the Olympics official team comes out and makes a statement along with everybody else involved in it and says like, hey, that's not what we were doing, not what we were referencing, like this is what we were doing. I feel like once there was a clear understanding of what they were supposed to be referencing, let it go. Okay, we get it. That's fine. But people will just not let up. It is insane. The Olympics team literally came out and they said that the opening ceremony was supposed to be an interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus, which makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings. Which, in a time where there is so much violence and like hate going around in the world, yeah, I think that's a perfect way to kick off the Olympics, which is a way where all the countries are coming together and, competing together and they're all in one spot. Like, that is a perfect way to put on display like things go on in this world, but we're still able to come together and do this celebration and competition together. Like, they weren't doing anything religious. I just am like, people need to let things go. Like, it got to the point where Barbara Butch, who was the DJ at the middle of the table, literally had to take legal action against somebody because of the things that they were saying about her online. Like, we have got to get a grip. The way that people are just so ready to jump on people and like, especially when I mean, the problem at bat is it was gay people on stage. Let's really boil it down and call it what it is. It's because they were gay. If it was straight people up there doing this, it would not be half the uproar going on, but because it's queer people, obviously it's 10 times worse. And now we are, corrupting children and we are showing them things that are going to turn them gay. As if watching these chiseled men in the tiniest Speedos with everything on display isn't what's going to turn them gay. I can promise you it is not the Blue Man Group reject on the table turning your child gay. It's Tom Daly's ass in that Speedo that is going to make your child gay. So let's get that thing straight first. And the fact that people are just like continuing to send these like threats, these like disgusting, vile things to these people and continue to try to like tear them down days after this has happened. And like many of things have been said to kind of iron it out. It's just like people need bigger fish to fry in their life. Get over it. Nikki Doll, which if you're not familiar, she was on Drag Race season 12 and now she's the host of Drag Race France, which, I mean, can we just talk about the fact that Nikki Doll was literally like, I think she got out like second or third on her season, and now she's hosting a franchise. She kind of ate that. But she was part of the performance and she did her single. She was performing with them, doing her thing. And her response, I loved. She said, to the ones that had their feathers ruffled seeing queerness on their screen, we ain't going nowhere. And I just think that's the perfect way. Like, no argument. There's no room for anyone to come back where we get that you're upset. We're not going anywhere. Queerness has been part of this culture forever and it's going to continue to be part of the culture. So either get with it or get lost. That being said, speaking of gay things, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga opened up the opening ceremony with her performance of Mon Truc and Plumes, My Thing with Feathers. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. I loved this performance. I thought this performance was so much fun. I mean, it's Lady Gaga. She was a theater kid through and through. She is going to commit to the bit harder than anybody has ever committed to the bit. And that's exactly what she did. I saw some people making some comments and being annoyed that she pre-recorded her performance. Why does it matter? We all know Lady Gaga can sing. There's no denying she's a fantastic live vocalist. So whether she was live or pre-recorded or not, the mic was on. We know that straightforward. But also there was a lot of like inclement weather potentially happening and Lady Gaga does nothing shy of perfect. So she was like, I'm not going to go on the stage while it's raining and potentially have any of the dancers or myself slip and fall down the giant staircase they're performing on. Like, if anybody just like used their brain for a second and took into consideration that her stage was a staircase and if it rained, they could fall. Like, let people need to use their brains more. It's like really getting insane the lack of brain comprehension that is going on in the world. But I was reading an article on Variety, and the choreographer of her performance said that this was the only performance that they had to pre-record. They did it late in the afternoon because they knew for sure it was going to rain. They said we had minute by minute updates. We had never watched the weather forecast so closely in our lives. We assessed that it was going to be too dangerous for the performers, even with a few drops of rain. Gaga wanted to do it absolutely, so he preferred to pre-record it rather than cancel it. Which, like, yeah, would you have rather there be no performance or a pre-recorded one? Why does it matter to you? You're watching it on a TV screen regardless, so I don't know. It was just like a weird thing to nitpick at. Again, people find anything to complain about. Lady Gaga, they can never make me hate you. I don't give a fuck if you recorded it 6 years ago and they're playing it now. I'm still gonna eat it up. You released a Chromatica Ball tour 3 years after the tour happened, and we still ate it up. You can do no wrong. If anybody's got your back, the gays and the girls got your back. So that being said, Lady Gaga was feeding us this weekend. Not only did we find out that she is now engaged, which I don't know if she wanted everybody to know, but she definitely said my fiance a little bit louder than somebody who was hiding an engagement would say. And especially at the Olympics, people are recording everywhere. Somebody caught it on camera, they posted it. If she didn't want it coming out, I do feel bad that it got leaked this way, but also like you can't say that at the Olympics. And I'm pretty sure she was talking to like the Prime Minister of France. Like, obviously, all eyes are on both of you. And the Prime Minister of France is gay. So, like, if anybody is going to be like feeding off this information, is going to be a gay man who got it from Lady Gaga's mouth himself. You know what I mean? So, like, yes, it sucks if this did get leaked and she didn't want it to be out yet. But also, like, you've been in the game for so long, you know a little, cover your mouth and like, cover your mouth like this and whisper to somebody's ear if you're saying something confidential. But that being said, the feeding did not stop there because she took it upon herself to thank the little monsters outside of her hotel by playing a snippet from LG7. So we do know LG7 is coming. She put it at the end of the Chromatica Ball video or music movie rather, and she has been teasing it. She's been in the studio and she played a snippet for them and it sounds so good. It's a little electronic, a little not rocky, but it has like some fun guitar in it. It sounds incredible. They actually used it in a House Labs video not too long ago, and I guess nobody picked up on it. I didn't see the video when they posted it, but now people are comparing what she played to that audio, and they're almost identical. I am so excited for LG7. That is going to be an album for the books, especially I feel like after she's doing all of these like passion projects, she did the Joker, she was in Vegas, like she was doing her whole thing. So I'm very excited for whatever she has up her sleeve. My paws will be up. I am ready for a new Lady Gaga album. Ugh, I cannot wait. And then our last little tidbit about the opening ceremony has to be Celine Dion closing it, performing on the Eiffel Tower. I mean, what like come on. That is such a magical experience to witness, and knowing what she's been through in the last few years and do a performance like that was insane. So like I said, she was performing on the Eiffel Tower. She performed Hymn à l'amour, and she hasn't been performing in public too much because she has stiff person syndrome, which is a rare neurological disorder that causes stiffness and muscle spasms that can make it difficult for her to sing. And if you were to tell me that she was having difficulty singing after watching that performance, I would be like, nope, you're a liar. She sounded phenomenal. She looked great. She, like I said, she hasn't been in public a lot lately. And I'm not the biggest Celine Dion fan. Like, I don't keep up with her often, but I mean, it's Celine Dion. Obviously, I'm a gay man. I can't not adore Celine Dion. So knowing that she was performing after everything she has been going through, and Kelly Clarkson said it best, like she was literally crying after the performance on live TV because she was like, just knowing what she has gone through in the last few years of her life and being able to go up there and do that and just be, I mean, Selena's such like a treasure. She has a fan base that loves her so much. And I mean, what's not to love about Celine Dion? Obviously, it was just like very emotional for everybody. It was a killer performance. She nailed it. And I was just very happy to see that she was able to like make this comeback in a way that was as grand as the Olympics, because like where else does Celine Dion make her first performance but the Olympics? You know? It was incredible. I loved it. Moving right along into some other Olympic news. I mean, Beyoncé, come on. That Team USA commercial that she did was out of control. I was having an out of body experience watching this. If you have not seen it, please pause this episode and go watch it because it was major. The levels to it, I mean, she literally like taking, first of all, booking Beyonce for this commercial is insane. That check must have been fat. She then takes Yaya from Cowboy Carter, which Cowboy Carter is all about reclaiming country music because, people of color created it and introduced it to the world, and now singing it for the Team USA and just like, oh, it was so good. She took Yaya and she just reconstructed it for the commercial. I loved it. It was so smart. Whoever came up with this concept, it was genius. She looked insane, intertwining the team, having the team do the callback to her. So smart. Oh my God. God, we are so lucky to be alive at the same time as Beyonce, Giselle, Knowles Carter. I could go on for hours. Moving on to something else I could talk about for hours. Wicked. The weekend kicks off with them showing the literal Oz train driving through Paris. The levels of marketing and promotion that they are going to for this movie are so insanely incredible, and it just makes me so much more excited for this movie. I didn't think I could be more excited, but the way that they are just fully committed to pushing this movie so insanely, you can just tell that that team knows how important this movie is going to be to the world and like to the people who just love Wicked and love Oz in that sense. And they are really thinking of everything. And I really, 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 really hope that they are bringing the train around the world. And like when that thing pulls into Grand Central Station, when that thing pulls into Penn Station, you can bet your ass I will be on the little yellow side part. I will be standing there recording. Like I need to see that train in person. I need to see that train in person. It was so fucking cool. I loved it. Not only were Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo there parading around in their green and pink, Bowen Yang is literally co-hosting the official Olympics podcast with Matt Rogers. They're doing Two Guys, Five Rings. I listen to Lost Culture Recess every single week, so now that they're doing this podcast, I've been tuning into it as well. Again, I am not like Sporty Spice. I'm not like the biggest sports person, so I don't listen to every episode of it, but the Olympics is not only wicked coded, it is gay coded. The Olympics are for the girls, the gays, and the days. Let's just say it. Let's be real. It's just, I love it. I love everything that has been coming out of it. This content, it really is like the Olympics of pop culture. It was like an overwhelming amount of pop culture things to like digest just from the Olympics. And I wasn't expecting to be so overwhelmed and overcome with news from a sporting event. Like I was like, holy shit, they are really just like they were doing this for the girls, the gays, and the days. It was for us. You guys can have your sports and do your thing, but like, my God. And since we are talking about the Olympics, we should probably talk about some of the athletes competing, and that is like the point of it. Contrary to my belief, like Ariana Grande and Beyonce aren't the main events of the weekend or the 2 weeks rather. So let's get into some of these athletes really quick. I mean, Simone Biles. Is she a human being? Is she real? It's her third time competing in the Olympics, and as of today, she has become the most decorated Olympian in US history. She is unreal. Watching her is truly like, it is unreal. We are watching such an incredibly talented little human being like throw herself around these mats and these handball. Like, it is so. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand how somebody can move their body the way that Simone Biles does, and that is why she is the greatest of all time. Like, that's the reason. There's no other explanation. It is insane. Of course, I've been loving watching Jordan Childs perform. She has been killing it. These Beyonce numbers she's doing, unreal. I love it. Beyonce sent her a little message last week, if you guys saw on her Instagram story, and she was like, "Thank you for representing us. You are my twin. I love you. I'm rooting for you." Just like, ugh, so cool. Obviously, Sha'Carri, the fastest woman in the world. Cannot wait to see what she pulls out for the Olympics this year. Everything that went down with her a few years ago when they weren't going to let her compete because of the marijuana in her system, we got to get a grip there as well. I'm glad that she is back and competing. I didn't even think of that. Two big ones coming back this year, competing for the first time. We love to see it. And then wrapping up our Olympics conversation, to all the men competing this year, I'm going to be honest, I don't know any of your names, but you are so fun to look at. And I love seeing you do your thing. Thank God some of these divers are diving into water because they are so hot. Some of these men, I mean, all of them really are gorgeous, but like some of these men, I am literally like, where did you come from? Like, I get that you're an Olympian, but like my I don't know what's going on. These men are something else, and I love to watch them in their little speedos doing their thing. It is prime television. The Olympics are so gay. If that is all you take away from this podcast, I'm happy. I'm happy that that is what you took away from this episode. That wraps up our Olympics conversation. And now we are moving into our TV recap segment of the show. First up on the list is the Kardashians. So I haven't been recapping it every week because this season has honestly been a snooze fest. It's been very boring. I love the Kardashians as a show. I've said it before. I don't love everything they do. I'm not like the biggest stan, but I do enjoy their show. And typically I really like watching what they're doing, and like they do give good drama. And there was some drama on this season, but this season just like it didn't live up to the rest of them. I don't know what it was. It was just like a snooze fest. So the season is over. Nothing really to go home about. The most exciting thing that happened was Gypsy Rose being on it, which like obviously I love. We talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago. insane. We love to see Gypsy Rose doing anything. And yeah, that was the Kardashians this season. They did get picked up for season 6, so they must be doing something right. And I'll be tuning in. I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, it was awful. Like it was fun, like brain rot reality TV. It wasn't up to par with past seasons. So let's put that aside and let's get into Drag Race All Stars 9 finale. Because oh my God. Oh my God. We find out at the top of the show that the girls will be performing in the Slay It Forward Variety Extravaganza, which whoever comes up with the name for these challenges and these little ruisms that they have throughout the show, kudos to you. Like I hope you're getting a fat check because you are sharp as a tack. Not only are they competing in this talent show, they are competing for 3 badges. It is literally a game changer. It could be the difference of taking somebody from like fourth place to first. It's major. This is crazy. Like the girls need to show out. And we are going to go through all of the girls. I'm going to do it so I don't have to go back every time. I'm going to talk about the girls one by one and their talent show and their runway. That way we're not here for 30 more minutes going back through each girl. So let's kick it off strong with my Southern Belle, my front runner from the day one, Angeria. I'm already grinning because if you don't know what happened at the end, you'll find out. But oh, I just love her. Angeria's talent show was hilarious. Like the whole park and bark moment where she's just like standing there looking gorgeous on stage, doing her little song and dance, her little gorgeous gown. She is stunning. I love her. She is hilarious. She is such a well-rounded drag queen. I am obsessed with her. Ending it with "you ugly bitch" was genius. She is perfect. She is such a good drag queen. I just adore her. Her runway was stunning. There was so much detail in it. I loved all the little ruffles at the bottom and just cool hair. Like, she looked so good. Whoever made that had to put so much work into it. It was really, really, really good. It wasn't my like favorite that she'd worn all season. There were so many other ones that I like definitely blew me away more, but she looked damn good and she always does. She's Angeria. She always looks fucking good. Next up, we had Gottmik, another bitch who always looks fucking stunning. Her talent show, she was a little rock and roll drag queen. She was definitely giving rocker chick. Do we think she was really playing the guitar? Like, was she actually performing or was it just like a bit to go with her, her shtick? Regardless, I was buying it. I loved it. She is so good. The song was fun. It was cute. I liked it. Her runway, that hair. One thing about Gottmik, like her hair is always going to be something you have never seen done before. She's incredible. Every look she pulls out is always like to the nines. She's one for the books. I loved her leathery little bondage look. She looked great. Her talent show was great. She was definitely one to watch this season. Another one to watch this season was Georges. She needs to be in the Olympics of drag. If there is ever an Olympics for drag queens, she is going home with gold because the way that she moves her body, that flip around and slide at the end with that giant wig on and like nothing fell out of place, nothing went wrong. Like she is a textbook performer. It is so good. Was the song great? No, but it was cute. I like the song. She is fierce. She looked insane. When doesn't she? And then her runway, she is so stunning. That face, like it is muggy out here. She was not lying. Like she is so stunning. The dress was fine. It wasn't anything crazy, but she looked really good. I loved the big hair with it. Like she definitely plays with her proportions. I feel like she has that little itty body. Do you guys hear the dog outside my door? Oh my God, are they okay? Anywho, moving on. Not my dog, not my problem. Moving on. Plastique Tiara. If you want to talk about the best runway package we have ever seen on Drag Race, we're going to talk about it in just a moment because I'm getting ahead of myself. Her talent show. Unreal. Another drag Olympian. She would get gold in the drag Olympics. She had layers to this. The first look getting torn off and then the fire coming out of her boobs, roasting the marshmallow on the fire. Like there was so much going on. It was incredible. The detail and like the lights, the way it reflected on her, like the reveal outfit. She is unfucking real. I love her. Her runway. What do I have to say? What is there to say other than like, holy shit? How did she pack that? How did she pack any of her outfits, really? But like this one, the way that there was like nothing out of place, so many details, there was so much just like going on with it, the way that it all kind of like spread out from her, like her hair, everything. There was so much going on. How did she pack that? And how did she create that? She is insane. Ugh, I'm gonna miss seeing her runways because this season was fucking nuts for her. Next up, Nina West. I almost just said Nina Bonina Brown. Where is my head at? Nina West. I mean, her talent show. She's a Broadway girl. We knew what she was gonna do. She was gonna give us something Broadway. She was gonna give us something a little camp, and that's exactly what she did. I absolutely loved the fact that she gave us a nod back to her Entertainer of the Year performance from 2008 with all of the people moving from the evening gown. That clip is like engraved in my mind. And you know what might not be my favorite drag queen of all time, but that clip is, it's just so good. And the fact that she did it again for this moment, perfect way to end and put like a bow on this season. I loved it. Her runway, it was a great way to end the season for her. She looked gorgeous. I loved that blue color on her. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, no, but compared to some of the things that she had worn this season, she looked good. This was a perfect way to end the season for her, I think. And then Roxy fucking Andrews. Roxy fucking Andrews. This burlesque number, she was literally performing Wagon Wheel with Tussie. Like, she was performing. I loved it. I also love the fact that she gave a nod back to her All Stars 2 talent show because she did burlesque there as well. It was great. It wasn't like groundbreaking. It didn't like blow my mind, but I mean, it's Roxy Andrews. She could stand on stage in silence and just like smile and shake her ass, and I'm sold. Like, she doesn't have to do much to impress me. I like this. It was really fun. And then her runway, I mean, Golden Goddess. She looked so rich. She looked so good. The way that it was like moving down the runway, her like dangly sleeves, and the way that the light was hitting the dress, like she just looked so good. She knows how to sell a garment. She is a textbook definition of a drag queen. I've said it before. I will say it until the day I die. Roxy Andrews does drag perfectly. Next up, we had Chanel. Talk about Cirque du Soleil. She was performing as if she was literally going on stage at Cirque du Soleil. I was gagged. The juggling, obviously a nod back to season one. That's what All Stars is all about. Like, that's the fun of it, is showing your skill set and like how it's improved and how you're still the same bitch as you were, for her case, 16 years ago. Like, she is still coming out, juggling on the runway, looking so good. She did the whole juggling with knives moment, balancing that cube on her nose. Like, she's insane. She is such a performer. And then her runway, what the fuck? When I saw it, I was like, huh? But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was so camp. It was so fun. It was like, it was just funny. The cigarette, the dog down the runway, like literally, she was walking a ceramic dog down the runway. She looked so good. She could sell a paper bag on her body. She just knows how to work a runway. She knows how to do a performance. Seeing Chanel back on our screens this year was such a treat. She did not disappoint. And then wrapping up this talent show and runway, we had Miss Vanjie. I mean, when isn't she going to perform fucking to the tens? She is such a performer. She honestly gives pop star energy. Like, her dancing, the way that she like controls a stage, like she is giving main pop girl energy, and I am so here for it. The leotard reveals was so funny, the way she was like digging at Michelle, this final one's for you, and it said eat it. Like, she's just like in on the joke and she runs with it and does it so perfectly, because there's a line like, you can't always be in on the joke and do it in a tasteful way. It sometimes is a little tacky. Vanjie does it perfectly. And then her runway, it was textbook definition Vanjie. I mean, she was literally wearing a chain that said Vanjie on every single link. It was so good. I loved it. The big dress, like I mean, not dress, the big jacket. Like, she said, I am here, hear me roar. So Vanjie, so loud in the best way. I loved it. The boots, everything, it was so good. I loved it. This season of All Stars was so good. There's a lot of backlash online, people saying it wasn't a good season. Those people are lying. This season was incredible. I am so sad that it's over, but I am so excited for the winner. So we go to find out that Angeria and Vanjie end up being the top two, and they win 3 badges, which automatically pushes these girls in the finale. I, oh my God. Let's go through the badge count at the end. We had Gottmik and Nina with 2, but then Nina got voted for the double diamond vote, which brought her to 4, but that wasn't enough to put her into the final 3, but she ended with 4 badges. Chanel had 3, Georges and Plastique had 4, Roxy and Vanjie had 5, and Angeria took the winning amount of badges with 6. The 3 of them lip sync solo, which I love that they weren't competing for the stage against each other. They were really able to like show off how they can lip sync and do their thing as an all star should. They lip sync to Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson. I loved it. They're all such performers, Roxy, Angeria, and Vanjie. I mean, they're going to lip sync for their life every single time, but especially when there's $200,000 on the line, they were eating. I was obsessed. And then we come to find out that the winner of All Stars 9 is Angeria, which, if you have been listening since the beginning of the season, you know that Angeria has been who I've been rooting for since day one. I'm obsessed with her. I love her. I think she is such a great drag queen. And the amount of hate that she is getting is so insanely uncalled for. I also thought Roxy was going to win. Roxy deserves to win. She deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Do not get me wrong. But you cannot sit on Beyonce's internet and try to say that Nigeria was not stiff competition this entire season. Not only was she the most blocked, she also was tied for the most challenge wins. She had the most amount of badges, and she only lost one of her 5 lip syncs this season. The girls were. They knew she was competition. She was constantly blocked. They voted her most delusional. They were afraid. They were like, yeah, she's delusional, but they were just not going to admit that she was killing it this entire season. She deserved this win. I love her so much. I've loved her since her season. I was so excited when she got announced for this season. And I'm so happy to say that she is our reigning All Stars 9 queen. This was such a great season of Drag Race. I absolutely loved it. And I am so excited to see what's next for Drag Race season 17, All Stars 10. Obviously, I'm still behind on Canada versus the World, and we do have Global All Star starting August 16th, I believe the date is. So there is Drag Race to catch up on and Drag Race to come. We will be recapping it. I just need to catch up. Your boy's been busy. I've been out and about doing my thing. So I will catch up on Canada versus the World. Jocelyn, I promise, she's been texting me like, you need to watch this season. I'm going to watch it. I just have to catch up. And then we have Global All Stars coming later in August. So I'm very excited for that. But that wraps up All Stars 9. It is our second Drag Race season that we have recapped. Well, second Drag Race franchise that we have recapped on the podcast. It's so bittersweet. It's so fun to recap it every week, but like, you know it's going to end eventually. And when it ends, you're like, wait, I don't want to say goodbye yet. But that being said, we have made it to the final segment of the show. It is time for my yes and my mess of the week. My yes being something I'm loving and my mess being something I am not loving. So kicking it off on a positive note, because we always start on a high note, Sabrina Carpenter's team is so on their game. If you did not see, they canceled hundreds of resale tickets of like scalpers and that, I guess like that bot spa, and that were just getting resold for like triple, quadruple, 10 times the price. They canceled so many tickets and emailed unique codes to select fans. I believe it's people who pre-ordered her album or have just bought merch on her website. Only if you've bought things from her website did you get this unique code. Not everybody got the same code. Everybody got a unique, specific little code that they could put in that makes it so much easier for scalpers to not get these tickets, because obviously they're not the ones buying the albums, they're not the real fans. This sale went on without a hitch. They did a perfect job of making sure fans were actually getting these tickets, and it was such an easy sale. I didn't end up buying anything, but my friend Delaney, who, if you guys have listened for a while, she did the Tortured Poets Department recap episode with me. She was able to get tickets with my code, so I'm so glad that like an actual fan was able to get some. And then Kayla and Shay, my other friends who I've definitely talked about on the podcast before, they were able to get tickets as well. So just happy to see that like a team is listening and learning from like the proper way to do a ticket sale. And I hope a lot of artists start to learn and like do this as well, because I thought it was a perfect way to execute scalped tickets, getting back to real fans. And then on the topic of tickets, if anybody did not get that code from Sabrina, or you're still looking for tickets to Sabrina, Billy, whoever is on tour, it's just a fun little reminder that if you would like to save $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek, you can use code 2POP to handle at checkout and save yourself some coin. It would make me so happy to know that somebody listening to this podcast saved a little bit of money on a concert ticket, which concerts are my favorite thing in the world. I would love to know that you saved some money going to a concert on my behalf. So go ahead, go to SeatGeek, use that code 2POP to handle at checkout, and save yourself $20. I would love to see it. Moving on to something a little more negative is someone who just, Billy Ray Cyrus. We've talked about the Cyrus family lightly before on this podcast. I love Miley. I'm such a fan. Like she is one of my all-time favorites, but her family is definitely a little messy, and Billy Ray Cyrus has just opening up his mouth. He needs to zip it because he had a 2-minute audio clip leaked to the Daily Mail, which was like a heated argument between him, who, mind you, he is 62, and his now ex-fiance, who is 36. So weird, but the snippet pretty much you can hear him cursing her out, saying she's an idiot, a selfish fucking bitch, all these things. She was like asking him, "Can you calm down? Can you relax?" And he was just like not having it. He just sounded like an animal. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know what went on with his achy breaky heart, but like, you got to bring it in. You've got to reel it in because on top of that, there were also text messages from Billy Ray Cyrus that were leaked calling Tish, Miley's mom, and his ex-wife a liar, a whore, and a cheat to his manager. Like in a professional setting, you were speaking to your manager about the mother of some of your children this way. He went on to say that she is a complete skank. She is the scum of the earth. She is a fraud. And this is really what makes my blood boil because he comes for two people in this sentence and makes Dina Lohan look like Mother Teresa. You're gonna come for the mother of two of my favorite people in the world, Miley Cyrus and Lindsay Lohan. Billy Ray Cyrus, you will begin to cough in 7 days. Who do you think you are? Speaking on these two women who, A, one of them is the mother of your children, and B, the other one has done nothing to you. Like, why are you bringing Dina Lohan into the situation? What is your problem? On top of that, just to really put the bow on top of the mess that was Billy Ray Cyrus this past week, he was at the Trump rally. Trump is calling him out on stage, taking photos with him, saying, like, he is such a great guy. I've known him for years. And then Donald Trump has the audacity to say, "You are such a great person. How did you end up with such a liberal daughter?" How are you going to go ahead and speak ill on Miley Cyrus like that? I cannot. And just the fact that Billy Ray Cyrus would let somebody speak ill on his daughter, regardless of your relationship with your daughter, that is your child. I don't care what they say, who they are, what they're saying, what the context is, where you stand. That is your child. Do not let a grown man speak about her like that. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised when he is speaking about the mother of his children and speaking to his fiance the way that he was. Oh my God. Just a reminder, please vote in November. Like, we need Donald Trump out. We need any of the people following him around, them out. Like, the fact that Billy Ray Cyrus was there and like loud and proudly there, I can't. I cannot. I need a documentary on the Cyrus family and I need it bad. I need it so bad. That being said, Billy Ray Cyrus is scum, and I love Miley Cyrus and Lindsay Lohan. What a perfect way to end the podcast. And with that, we have made it to the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard and you're listening to us as a podcast, whether on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcast. Actually, I don't even think Google Podcast is a thing anymore. If you're listening to us at a podcast anywhere, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating. Leave me a review. It is the best way to support your favorite podcast. And I hope I'm your favorite podcast. If I'm not, I will be soon. And if you were watching us on YouTube, hello. Make sure you leave us a thumbs up. Drop a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button. You know, there's so many ways you can interact on YouTube. Do them all except for dislike. You know, let's give some love. Give me a comment, share this video with someone, do all the things. Let's spread the love of Too Pop to Handle. And like I always say, if everybody listening to this episode shares it with one friend, I will double in listeners. It is simple math. We are getting really good at math around here. You guys saw that quick math I did at the top of the show. I am improving in my math skills, so you should reward me by sharing this podcast with a friend. Share it to your Instagram story. Tag me in it. I am always online. I am chronically on the internet. So if you would like to follow me on my chronic journey of the internet, we are at Too Pop to Handle on all social platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I've even been posting a lot more on Threads lately. So if you're a Thread girl, come follow me over there. And like I said, I have some really exciting things that I'm working on and trying to, get together. For the podcast. So make sure you're following us. I have some really, really, really exciting things that I'm putting a lot of like thought and effort into. So make sure you're following us. Make sure you're following me. I am at Andrew Nucatola on all platforms. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Bye.